Welcome to Richard Scale Modelling. This is part 3 of the Airfix Martin B-26B Marauder Scale 1 to 72. In part 2, I put in the bomb bay, the cockpit, and closed up the fuselage. In part 3, I'm going to be dealing with the canopies and the markings of the aircraft. So let's jump into this. Picking up where I left off, I'm putting in the compartments that hold the landing gear and the engine. It's a straight fit into it. You won't need much pressure to hold these parts together. But if you do find that you need a bit of clamp or something, I put one at the end. But later on, I thought, well, for the tips, it'd be easier just to put on the engine compartment that holds the engine, and that will hold it all together. And indeed, that's what happened. All those clamps you see there, it's not really necessary. Maybe for the end part, but certainly not for the front. So while that's on, as you can see here, I'm just putting on the actual doors for the landing gear. And then once the doors are on, I'm putting on the actual engine itself. Now that just pushes on. As you can see, that will hold the whole unit together. So there's, as I said, there's no need for any clamps. The wings went on nicely. I had no need to fill in any of the wing roots. As you can see there, I butted right up against the fuselage and didn't leave any gaps whatsoever. I'm painting up the invasion stripes on the tail, and it's 08 matte black for the black. And these are dealt with the same way they're dealt with on the wing. As you can see there, I've added a little bit more on the wing. And if you remember what I said in part 2, if you watched it, that was just to increase the width of the black bar. So while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm just making up the bomb bay doors here and having them open. So these just fold into each other. And now I'm using Tamiya's X2 white for the white bars. As I said before, it's exactly the same process I used for the wings. Making up the tail now, and simple case of marrying the two halves together. It was no hassle. You shouldn't have any problems with this. As I say, it's just putting the two halves together. Next is the actual wings themselves. Now they come in a couple of parts. The main unit here you make up, and then the actual flaps. Now it's better to half build these now. Let me explain about that. I've cemented them so they'll have a small bit of purchase, and then I will be placing the flaps into it once I make the flaps up. Now the reason for that is because you really have to make them up on the wing itself, but it was easier to have them cemented in a loose way where you can just then lift them up slightly and place them in. So as you can see there, I've slightly opened them up a little bit and then just snapped them shut onto the main wing. That way you will get a free movement if you wish. Onto the front wheel. I was a little bit disappointed with this front wheel. It's constructed in the same manner as the two main wheels, but what disappointed me was it was quite fragile. Once you place it on, even after you wait for it to set and dry, it may not take the weight of the aircraft. It may bend slightly as it goes down, especially if you're adding extra weight, so it's not going to tail sit. Depending on how you build the model, there is a little ladder that goes into the bomb bay that will actually act as a stabilizing device, so you don't really need to put the weight in. Now of course at the time I didn't realise this when I was building it, or I wouldn't have bothered putting weight in at all, but that's something to bear in mind. So the bomb bay doors come in two parts. The larger size, which you see here, does have clear windows. Therefore, I painted the outside already with the main colour before placing the windows in. So it's time to put on the doors. The folding ones just sit right on the actual edge of the unit there. Then I'm placing in the front landing gear. As the contact point is quite small as well. It's such a shame because it's a really good kit apart from this little part. And now moving on to the other set of bomb doors. As you can see, I'm setting them in the main open position. Have a look at the instructions to see how far you want to open them up. I've got them splayed wide open. Next to go on are the little sensors. There's two to go on, one right in front of the bomb bay. There's quite a large piece, you shouldn't have any problem with that. The front one, it goes on the nose, near the nose cone, just in forward of the front wheel. That's a tiny part, don't put that on until near the end. Especially don't put it on until you put these forward doors on as well. Next to go on is the ladder that I was speaking about, and this is the thing that will stabilise the plane once it's on its wheel so it won't tilt it. I don't know whether it was designed to do this or not, but if not, it's quite a happy coincidence. And now for the 4 machine guns. Each set has its own location point and recess hole for these, and they should just fit in. You won't need a lot of cement, so don't worry about you're going to ruin your paintwork. Just a little bit of cement inside the actual recess hole and it should be secure enough. I'm putting on the bottom half of the tail canopy here. It just slots in between the guns and rests on the carriage at the bottom there. There's no markings on it to be masked off and painted. It's just a straight simple fit onto the tail. Next is to paint the 3 little lights. So it's Tamiya's X27 clear red first of all, then moving on to X25 clear green, and finally X24 clear yellow. And there's just 3 little dots that I paint on the markings. There's a little circles there to identify where they actually should go. Moving on to fit the tail wings now. There's a couple of location points as you can see here, and they just fit into the holes, recess points on the actual wing itself. You may have to press down quite firmly to get these attached. And then I can fit the last part of the canopy on the tail end there. Make sure you don't fit this until the wings are attached, because it butts up against the actual wing, the top of the canopy. So now it's time to fit the tail, and as you can see there, the recess point goes in, and that just slots in again without any fuss. Onto the canopy now. Now this time I'm actually masking off the canopies. The little orange thing you see there, that's called Infinite Easy Cotton Board. That comes from America, I think, and they're little jigs that makes cotton masking tape extremely easy. You can see my masking tape lying on there. You just put it down, and it's got pre-cut lines, and you just run your knife down them, and you get a perfect cut. You need a new blade when you do it, but it's very good for creating thin strips of masking tape. For the painting, I'm using Tamiya's XF56 metallic grey. I decided not to use the fuselage colour, which we normally do. I just wanted a darker colour, so I went for the dark metallic grey. So once the nose cone is dry, as you can see that it's came out quite well. I'm fairly happy with that. So it's now time to fit it. So first of all, a little bit of canopy glue on the actual gun itself, just to push it through and hold the gun in position, and then a little bit of canopy glue around the edges there before fitting it, and it just pushes on. Before I put the canopy on, I'm just going to be painting the model, and it's 99 aluminium by Rebel Aquacolor for the main colour. And then once that's dry, it's time to put on the main canopy, and it fits really well. It just sits right in its house in there without any fuss. And once everything is dry, it's time for a coat of Pledge Clear varnish. And now it's on to the decals. So as you can see, I've fast forwarded off just putting on the decals. Now I was actually very disappointed in these decals. They kept falling apart, and anytime I was touching them, they were just breaking. So there was a lot of bodging, pasting, cutting, and getting them all to fit. The lettering, for instance, 6B, that that was an absolute nightmare to do. One of them's slightly off centre and skew width. It's like it's been squashed together. I'm have to figure out some creative weathering for that to look okay. So this is a good place to finish up with part 3. In part 4 I shall do the weathering on the model. So if you'd like to see that, make sure you subscribe to that channel. Also have a look at my channel for all my previous builds. Hit that like button, and of course you can leave a comment. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.